Hi, this is Brian. Welcome to another installment of Insights from the Speakers, sponsored by Davis Foot Orthotic Solutions. Our guest today will be presenting a seminar entitled Leg Length Inequality, Mechanics, Evaluation, and Management. I'd like to welcome Mr. Brian Davis, a physical therapist, as well as the CEO of Davis Foot Orthotic Solutions. Well, thank you, Brian. It's a pleasure to be here. So Brian, tell me how leg length inequality has become an interest of yours. Well, Brian, I'll tell you, I got interested in leg length inequality very early in my career as a physical therapist. The times that I tried to measure leg length, I always called in another colleague just to double check, and the problem was every time I called a colleague in, about 50% of the time, they would get something different. They would say the left is long when I'm saying the right is long. Then we do the measurement another way. We do a long sit test. We get something different. We do it standing. We get something different. So I was very confused, you know, and I understood and I experienced that lift therapy can be very beneficial, particularly with individuals with lower back pain, SI pain, hip pain. But I was confused why the measurement just was not reliable, and it shouldn't be that way. So when I got into academia, I used to teach a course called Measurement and Analysis, and we would take a group of students and we would do a particular measurement on one of the students in the class, and I would collect the data, run the data, and look at reliability and look at accuracy of the measurement if that was possible. And what was interesting was when we did leg length inequality, it was like miserable. Everybody was getting different stuff, whether we did the tape measurement in supine, the long sit test. So I just felt that we needed something else, and I was doing my master's thesis at the time, and I decided I was going to investigate leg length inequality, and I was going to review the literature, and I was going to come up with a clinical measure that was going to be compared to x-rays and demonstrate, or try to demonstrate, good accuracy and reliability. And that's what got me interested in this. So I spent 2 years doing that project. So who would you recommend taking this course? Well, the course that I'm doing on leg length inequality is really for therapists that treat across any of the populations, from pediatrics to geriatrics to sports medicine, even lower limb amputees, total joint replacements, hip and knee, and so I think that this information applies, broadly to therapists or clinicians, and we're going to explore the mechanics of leg length inequality and what's been demonstrated in the literature as far as what does leg length do to the body, and we'll see some really interesting stuff at the hip and at the pelvis and the lumbar spine. We're going to explore the measurements and see what the story is, which ones are reliable, which ones are not, what do they tell you, we'll look at what I consider the most reliable measure that I use clinically, and we're going to then explore lift therapy, and we're going to see, well, what is the treatment? So you establish as a leg length, how do you go about it? Do you put everything that is the discrepancy in the shoe on day one? Do you go slowly with it? Do you have some sort of approach that is going to be effective, that's going to be meaningful to that person, allow them to perhaps adapt over time? How much should you use? Do you always have to use 100% of a correction? So those are things that we're going to explore, and then we're going to actually, do the measurement, in the class, and have a little bit of audience participation, and it takes less than a minute to do a leg length screening on somebody or assessment, and become quite accurate with it and reliable. Mr. Davis will be presenting his lecture on leg length inequality on December 10th, 2014 in St. James, New York. Following this event, the course will be posted online for you or of a greater audience. So remember to go to www.davisfootOrthotics.com davisfootorthotics.com, and look for another installation of Insights from the Speakers. See you then.